The sky did not exist here. There was only darkness, stretching forever, shifting like a living thing. The ground was solid yet formless, pulsing beneath unseen feet like the heartbeat of a dying beast. Time held no meaning, only the weight of fear, pressing down like a suffocating shroud. When Daniel Carter stepped through the door, the world behind him ceased to be. The alley where he had stood, the city lights, the cold autumn air, all of it vanished as if it had never existed. The shadow realm had swallowed him whole.
The descent into madness.
The first thing he noticed was the silence. It was not the stillness of an empty place, but the crushing absence of sound, as if the very concept of noise had been erased. His own breath felt muted, lost before it could echo. Every movement was swallowed into the abyss. Then came the eyes. They were not visible in the traditional sense, yet he felt them, thousands of unseen things, watching from the shifting dark. Shapes coiled and slithered in the periphery of his vision, dissolving when he tried to focus. The weight of their presence pressed against his skull, burrowing into his thoughts, peeling away his mind layer by layer. The ground beneath him twisted, forming jagged structures of bone and rusted metal, jutting from the abyss like the ribs of some enormous, long-dead beast. Shadows moved between them, dragging themselves forward with limbs too long and twisted, their forms just barely human, but not enough. Something shifted beneath his skin. A sensation, crawling through his veins, worming its way up his spine. It was inside him now, rooting itself into his thoughts, peeling away his memories, sifting through them like a scavenger picking apart a corpse. The realm was learning. It knew him. It knew what he feared.
The fear made flesh.
The darkness swelled, shifting like ink spilled in water, and from it she emerged. At first, she seemed human, her movements slow, deliberate, unnatural in their grace. Her hair hung in wet strands over her face, her dress soaked, dripping with something thick and black. Emily, his sister, the girl who had drowned beneath the ice so many years ago. Her lifeless eyes peered through the strands of wet hair, wide, empty, filled with something far beyond death. Daniel did not move. He could not. Her lips parted. Water spilled from her mouth, running down her chin, dripping into the blackness below. Her fingers twitched, bent at odd angles, broken but still reaching. But Emily was dead, and this was not Emily. The thing wearing her skin twitched, its head tilting at an unnatural angle. Its lips curled back into a jagged, inhuman smile, stretching to wide, revealing teeth that were never hers. From the darkness behind her, more figures emerged, each more wrong than the last. Bodies twisted, faces peeled back, jaws stretched open in eternal, silent screams. The pressure inside Daniel's skull became unbearable. His skin burned as unseen hands grasped at his flesh, pulling, peeling, trying to drag him deeper. The realm was feeding, and it was not finished.
The collapse of reality.
Daniel ran, his feet pounded against the shifting ground, but the world bent and stretched around him. The jagged structures of bone and metal rose higher, shifting, forming a labyrinth of endless corridors. The whispers grew louder, not words, laughter, mocking, twisting. His vision blurred as the shadows closed in. Hands burst from the ground, clawing at his ankles, their touch ice cold, burning like frostbite. He stumbled, hitting the ground hard. The air left his lungs, but before he could rise, they were upon him. Hands grasped his face, his throat, his arms. They peeled at his skin, fingernails digging, tearing, as if they meant to pull something from inside him. Daniel screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the abyss. His memories unraveled, images of his past ripped apart and devoured. The warmth of his childhood home, his mother's voice, the laughter of friends long lost, all torn away, reduced to nothingness. He was being unmade.
The hunger of the void.
A doorway appeared in the distance, the same black iron door that had led him here. But now it bled, rivulets of red trickling down its surface, pooling at its base. It pulsed like something alive, beckoning. He had no choice. Daniel forced himself forward, clawing against the hands, pulling him back. Flesh ripped from his body as he tore himself free, leaving behind pieces of himself in the grip of the shadows. He staggered toward the door, blood trailing behind him, the whispers turning to screams. The ground split open beneath him, revealing nothingness a vast, endless chasm filled with things that should not be. A final pull from the shadows yanked at his spine, his mind fracturing under the pressure. But with one last surge of strength, he threw himself against the door. It swung open, and the darkness swallowed him whole.
The real world is no longer real.
Daniel woke up in the alley. The door was gone. His wounds were still there, his skin still slick with blood, but the world was normal again. Or was it? The streetlights flickered, the air felt too still. Shadows moved where they should not move. And then a whisper, not from behind him, not from the dark corners of the alley. From inside his head, the shadow realm had never let him go.